started in college, I was like suffering real bad. Like depression, anxiety was bad. After I graduated high school, going into college, I lost like 20 pounds over the summer because like my anxiety was so bad. I would trick myself into like getting sick, and like I couldn't like leave my house. If I like even drove like to my dad's work, I had to pull over on the side of the road, just like dry heave. It was weird.
Really?
Because like, my anxiety was so bad, I like, took over every aspect of my life. Yeah. Like I lost 20 pounds. It was like, I basically like developed some type of weird anxiety thing. It was basically like the derealization stuff to where like every time I like ate food almost, I'd feel like I was going to throw up or get sick. And I developed a fear of getting sick because of that. It was like a snowball effect with the anxiety.
Yeah.
And it took over my life and it was really bad. And I remember like I have voice memos I've made in my my life story video, and I'll talk about like how I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah.
It was really bad. It got kind of dark at times,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, so we're in Las Vegas tonight. We're not at our normal location, but I have a special guest, Alex Eubank. Yeah, like I said earlier, like I've been following you for a long time. So, I mean, I think it was between like 50 and 100K. That you had followers on Instagram, and now you're at 1 million. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's always cool. Like when I see like people who like people from like 2020, I'm like, oh, you're like OG. That's like an OG follower.
Yeah, right.
Versus like some people who like I don't know found me in like 2021 or like even this year, like one of the newer people. The OGs.
Yeah, the OGs.
Sick, yeah. Have my back. It's kind of crazy.
For sure. Well, man, I'm excited. You know, when I met you, I actually met you for the first time yesterday.
Yeah.
But when I met you, I know you're a Christian, and so like we connected we talked tattoos, and yeah, I just wanted to just pick your brain a little bit because you're in a unique position, like being in the fitness industry, like having that kind of following, and being a Christian, like. I feel like that's not easy. That can't be easy. So just like, can you just describe what that's like and what that like ride has been like?
Yeah. So I don't know. I've always been super open about my faith just because purely like for me, like I got baptized 2020 and that was when like COVID and I started TikTok. It was like, that's like when I started, trying to turn my life around.
Yeah.
Right after I got baptized and like things were working, like my life was changing. So like I owed everything to God, like completely. So I was like, as I was getting followers, I was like, I purely related the followers and the success to literally God allowing me to have it. So I was very open about my faith from the get-go. Like you can literally go back on my feed to when I hit like, I don't know, 18, 20K, and I would post like a picture like of just talking about like my faith in the caption, just because and I did that for a mill as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was always super open about it just because like again, like as God gives, he can also take, and I see myself as a steward of everything that is given to me. So like it's not truly mine. So and why would God give me more if I'm not going to, be good with what he's already given me?
Sure.
So that's like why I've always been really open about it. And also too, like the fulfillment I get when I find like these DMs I get, or like a kid comes up to me and he's like, yo, like you brought me to the faith. That hits so deep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, again, that's like the positive part of it. But there's also like a big negative, cause like in a way, which I've had, to think a lot on is by me being open about my faith, it almost is like, it to other people, their view, it puts me like a different, like a higher standard, I guess. It always puts like a target on my back to where like, it's like I'm not allowed to
it's like one false move.
Yeah.
Like you do one thing that maybe someone considers like unchristian, right? And then you're in
my neck for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're like, oh, like you're smoking a cigar, like you're a fake Christian. I'm like, where does it even say I can't do that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And like it's so like I'll even argue with like one follower at a time just because like it's so it hurts when somebody tries to call out my faith and say that it's not valid or that like I'm leading wrong, like that it hurts me because like I take pride in what I do and I like feel like I do it pretty good, and I always try to put God first and like my content and like the stuff that I do. And I always try to tell people like stop idolizing me, don't see me as like that perfect person because I'm not perfect. So the issue is like when they try to idolize me and then like I don't do the most perfect thing, they're like it's almost like they get let down by then they're like, oh, like he's not who he says he is. I never said I was that person in the first place.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're just making assumptions about you or what they think a Christian should be like. I had my brother-in-law on like my second episode of the podcast, and he's a pastor. He's the pastor of the church that we go to. I was just kind of asking him, and he had a very similar response to like people just like idolize you and like hold you to this standard like you're not a human. Yeah, like you're a human just like they are. Like you're gonna make mistakes. Like you're not perfect. So
yeah, and like the thing is like I'm not perfect with it, but it's even like again, like they hold me to this standard that like doesn't even make sense. Like the thing with like, oh, you can't do cigars. Like, why are you hanging out with this person or that person? Like, I'm like,
yeah, there's like no
bro.
biblical basis for that accusation.
I'm like, what do you like? You act like I'm supposed to be like a nun, just lock myself up in my room
Right,
and only read
right,
the Bible like 24/7. And like the thing is, that I hate when they try to like invalidate my faith. And I'm like, yo, like not like I don't like to come to this point because like it's like comparison, but it's like I feel like I've done a decent amount, at least out of my power, for like the kingdom of God. Like meaning like I have tried to be open about it quite a bit, regardless of if it messes my engagement up or whatever it may be. Sure. And that has definitely, I would hope, planted some seeds to some people. I get DMs about it all the time. People like, the other day I put on my Snapchat story, some kid said he was going to take his life and he watched my life story video and like he's like, they like hyped him up. It gave him some motivation, you know? So I'm like, to these people who are like talking like, yo, like you're a fake Christian. Like, how are you going to say this and then do that? I'm like, bro, like, what have you done for the kingdom of heaven? Like, what have you done? Like, maybe you spend less time worrying about what I'm doing, and then maybe you could do something that could maybe further your faith or do something for God, rather than, you know, try to bash me.
But man, it's incredible to see like you still maintaining your position in your faith, in the midst of all of that, like in the midst of like being presented with so many options. Like we're in Vegas for the weekend for the Alpha Line thing. I'm like, there's so many opportunities here to do stuff, and nobody would bat an eye at that. Yeah. But like as a Christian, you know, holding that standard, that, and no one maybe that we're hanging out with knows that we're kind of making those decisions because of our faith. But it's really cool to see that, like that you've like, because even that's like we said, that's, I mean, 1 million people. Imagine like 1 million people in a stadium or like in a crusade. Like that's a lot of people, man, that you have that you've had and like continue to have an impact on. Like that's incredible. I mean, you're responsible for so many people. Yeah. That, man, it's so cool to see that you, kind of stand your ground with your faith.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. I don't know. It's a big thing too. Like my dad always like, so I'm like a Christian pretty much because of him. Yeah. Like I try to like kind of model after
your dad?
Him. Yeah. Yeah. So he always says always proud of me and like sees like, and like, cause I get down, like I'll get like this social media stuff's toxic. It's really bad. And I'm very, very hard on myself with it. So like little things like just a day of bad engagement, or especially recently in like the industry of just people like literally trying to shit on me for like everything. Yeah. And it's like, it was like when I had 100K, like I guarantee you, like no one, people they wouldn't care as much, but now it's like I've been popping. It's like everybody wants to hop on this train, like trying to find things that they can get on me to like invalidate me or just to tear me down. And it's like that stuff messes with my mental. Like I have like a very, my mental state is very changed off of my like external situations. So if like it seems like things are kind of going bad, like I can quickly like switch and I'll get like down bad. Yeah, and it's hard for me to kind of hop out of it. So I've been struggling with that definitely recently. Again, the last 3 months, because again, like everything's been growing, doing good, like the social media stuff, like the numbers, but like bro, the amount of hate I'm getting for things like I'm sure you've probably seen some of the dumb shit, whether it was like the Photoshop thing or the natty or not,
the testosterone stuff, Nashville or not,
and it's like, bro, like it's, oh my lord, bro. And like it sucks because like sometimes like people will make these videos on me, and it's like either I shut my mouth and don't bring more attention to it, but then it's like it's very biased because there's only one source people are getting information from, but then it's like I respond and then I'm bringing more attention to it.
Sure, exactly.
And it's like I'm giving them clout, which is what they probably wanted in the first place.
Right, that's exactly why they're attacking you in the first place. Like you said, you're not going to hear from those people when you have 100K.
Yeah, because
when you have a mil, exactly,
get some views, and I could literally can see it. Like, and I hope people can see it too. Is like when you see these videos that they've done or these TikToks, like whatever it may be, of them like talking shit about me, it'll be their best performing video, pretty much. Right, given like the last 3 months on their channels or on their TikTok. I'm like, because people love drama, bro.
Exactly,
people love drama.
People love that, man.
Yeah,
they love to tear people down.
Yeah, because
especially when they're doing well.
Yeah, and that's the thing, bro. And like again, like that's about like one reason why I'm my faith and I got close to God was because like my mental struggles. Like I've always had a very like my mind was always messed up growing up. I was very, I don't know, I always get in my head, bad anxiety, depression, like derealization, just like very overthinking and stuff like that. So when and obviously the social media stuff is like my career and my job, and I'm like very like big on that. Like I'm very big. Like I'm a try hard with it. Like I go crazy. I like put a lot of work and effort in this and all the stuff that I do. And so to see people almost try to like attack it and like take it away from me is when I like start to freak out. I'm like, oh shit. And like I get super stressed out, down bad. I feel like I'm letting down like all these kids or whatever it may be. And then that's when I get in my bag. And then people don't see that too, because that's like behind the cameras. Like it's like I can flip a switch like that. Like I go live on Instagram, super happy, upbeat, and then once that live ends, I'm just back to being like down bad and like like having to deal with the bullshit I see on the internet, people talking shit, whatever it may be. Yeah. So it's toxic. People don't see that side either. So.
Yeah, for sure. But like I feel like you're pretty transparent. Like at least from what I've seen following you, like you've been really transparent about that stuff, like stuff that you struggle with and stuff like that. So, and I think that's what really like people really connect with that. And I think that, like your base, like really probably values that, like how real you are and like transparent you are.
Yeah. And that's what's like really helped set me apart. And I feel like that contributed a lot to my growth, was trying to be like real and like vulnerable. But then it's like, then again, they'll use that again. The same thing they do with the Christian, they'll use that against me because they'll be like, oh, like he claims to be all real and vulnerable, then like he's doing this. And I'm like, bro, like you can never win with social media. People are always like, you literally cannot win. If there's always like, let's say like the natty or not thing, for example, I could show like a lie detector test, literally like everything I could to prove it. And
there's nothing you could do. Like there's nothing you could do to satisfy
because people love to hate or whatever it may be, whether it's envy, jealousy, like a lot of things for the Christian thing. When I say like everything I've been given is because of God, and I'll see like, the atheists in the comments saying like, yo, like you did it, like you worked for it. And I'm like, bro, like if I want to give glory to my God, then let me give glory to my God. It has nothing to do with
get out of here. This is my page. Like, don't come in here with this nonsense.
Bro, like the other day I saw they were like, yo, I wish you would. I posted like a Christian video. I posted two in a row on my TikTok.
Yeah.
And usually don't perform as well, of course.
Sure.
They'd be like, I wish Alex would separate his fitness and his faith content. And I'm like, and I replied to him. I was like, bro, like at the end of the day, my first identity is a child of God.
Yeah.
Second, fitness influencer, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to make sure the platform that I've been given to me is used to glorify him and not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to like, please everybody. I mean, and by me making I talked about this, I have a Bible study Discord. We have a Discord, we do Bible studies. Yeah.
No kidding. Like how often do you do it?
We'll do, so I have like a few leaders who will lead it. I don't hop in every single one just because I'm busy, but because they do like 4 nights a week.
Okay.
It's like, we have like over 20,000 members on the Discord now. No way. And people don't see that, bro. Like I don't get anything from doing those. Sure, you know what I mean? And I'll go in there and sometimes I'll debate Muslims and like, or atheists and stuff, cause they'll hop in and they'll start, I'll have to like go into defense mode cause I got a bunch of these kids in the Bible study, like trying to learn. And then there'll be someone in who tries to like almost ruin it. You know what I mean? Then I got to go like father mode and like straight up like just defend the faith. Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. Well, if you give me the link and I'll throw it in the description for the Bible study. Yeah.
For sure. But that's definitely, I've gotten some people saying like that stuff helped them out, but people don't see that too. Like, they think like some people think like the whole Christian thing that I do is like a facade to make people feel bad for me or whatever it may be. But like they don't see me like at the meet and greet. I literally, some kid came up to me like really opening up to me and I was like talking about God because he was trying to get into the faith a little bit.
Yeah.
And like didn't mind talking to him for 5 extra minutes just to give him some resources. Like nobody sees that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I try to be as genuine as I can with it. Again, like I'm not perfect, bro. Like I'm a 22-year-old guy in this generation. Like I do make mistakes and mess up sometimes.
For sure.
And I just hate that people see like the follower count. They try to hold me to a different standard than themselves. Yeah. Just because I have more followers. Like I didn't ask for, like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I hate when they try to point me to be like a really big leader and act like I'm on a different standard than them when I'm the same as them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're just a human.
Yeah.
Or you're just a kid. You're just a young man.
Like you're just
living.
Bro,
yeah.
Like
when I was 22, if everybody like knew my business when I was 22, people would be destroying me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it sucks. I feel like I can't do anything. I feel like there ain't like, I don't know. Or I have to watch like my every little move. It's like, you never know when, cause someone, I don't know, people, I always like have an issue. People like trying to be out to get me or try to find something to use against me. So that alone is an issue too. Cause then I end up closing off to like people in my life, whatever it is. So you never know if they're like, I don't know, bro.
There's a snowball effect.
Yeah.
I get that. Okay, so when did you get saved? Or
January 5th, 2020. I have a tattoo for it. Or
you do?
A little one.
No way. Oh, very cool. So 2020?
Beginning of 2020. It was the first one baptized at my church that year.
So can you just describe that experience? Like what happened? Like what made you make that decision?
So I grew up in like a Christian household and everything, growing up, but like obviously people don't realize there's a difference between like a Christian and like being a follower of Christ. So I always say like Christians like are like very surface level. Like maybe I go to church every once in a while or like near the holidays, but then it's like people don't realize how deep you can go in the faith to where that's like the deep stuff is when you find like the everlasting peace, like the true like fruit, like the fruit of the spirit and like everything. That stuff that like actually fulfills you. Like I didn't really know that. I just call myself a Christian, you know? So I went through a lot of like a bunch of bad, like hard shit. I made like a life story video kind of explaining all of it. Okay. And then when I was like 18 or 19, started in college, I was like suffering real bad, like depression, anxiety was bad. After I graduated high school, going into college, I lost like 20 pounds over the summer because like my anxiety was so bad. I would trick myself into like getting sick, and like I couldn't like leave my house. If I like even drove like to my dad's work, I had to pull over on the side of the road, just like dry heave. It was weird.
Really?
Because like my anxiety was so bad, it like took over every aspect
crazy.
of my life. Yeah. Like I lost 20 pounds. It was like, I basically like developed some type of weird anxiety thing. It was basically like the derealization stuff, to where like every time I like ate food, almost I'd feel like I was gonna throw up or get sick, and I developed a fear of getting sick because of that. It was like a snowball effect with the anxiety.
Yeah,
and it took over my life, and it was really bad. And I remember like I have voice memos I've made in my my life story video, and I'll talk about like how I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah,
it was really bad. It got kind of dark at times.
Yeah,
you know, and I started listening to this radio station that had like worship music in it when I'd like go to college and stuff, and I was driving to school, and it was like, I forgot the radio, it's like Shine FM.
Yeah.
And like bro, it was like the songs were so like, I don't know how to explain. I was always like a music guy. Like I played like guitar in high school. Like big acoustic. I was like play country music and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And I would sing a little bit.
Yeah.
So I started to listen to worship music, and like I was really into like Elevation Worship, Maverick City Music. Like I still listen.
I know the Maverick City guys.
So good. I saw them in person. Amazing group. Like
they're incredible.
The way they really changed it to me. That's like they're low key. I low key like got baptized kind of because of them. Like that's when I first experienced like,
really
God. Yeah.
No way. So Dante is one of the front guys. And he's a worship leader at our church.
Really?
Yeah, the guy from Maverick City. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Or you got to come by the Legacy sometime. It's called Legacy Church in Nashville.
Really?
Yeah, you got to come visit.
Yeah, now I have to. Now.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I remember that worship music started doing it for me. I started playing guitar and singing it, bro, and I would just have times where like I would just bawl crying while playing the music, because like the words, like I said this in my video, like the words that I would say was what my soul was always been wanting to say, but like I just didn't know how to say it, and it was like I was saying it to God. It was almost like a prayer. Yeah. And then that's when I was like, I started feeling like God, and like I chose to get baptized. I remember I was in my room, extremely down bad. Just like I would have nights where I'd cry and pray. It was like one of their music videos. It was the first song from them I ever heard, and in like part of the song, they they get in like the spontaneous part of worship.
Yeah.
Where they just kind of go like they go with the flow.
Just feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah. And like it was the first time like I felt the like a presence of God overtake me, bro. And I started bawling in my room.
Yeah.
I was like shook. I'd explain it to my dad the next day. And like, I swear after that, I was like, okay, like that's when I realized like how deep it could get.
Yeah.
And it felt so good. It was like for the first time in my life, like I was the only child and I went through a lot of shit. Like the first time I felt like very loved, like taken care of, and like nothing else mattered but that. Like I said, like, cause I'm not a perfect person. Like I said, like I went through life. Like I've been through it all. Like I, hooking up with girls, like doing whatever it was. And like, although I thought that was satisfying in that moment, the feeling of having an experience of like being with God in that moment, of like feeling like His Spirit, is the most satisfying feeling than any other flesh feeling that I've had satisfied in my life. And like people think that's weird to say if they don't understand it, but like once you
never experienced it,
yeah, like that's better than everything. That's always what I try to come back to when like the social media stuff gets hard, because sometimes I'll get in my head and I'll kind of like put my faith on the back burner, and this is what I realized recently is I'll put people's faith before my own. Meaning I'll go find a Bible verse just to put on my story, hoping that it'll help other people, rather than for me to meditate on it myself.
Sure. Yeah.
And I had somebody slide up on my story one time saying, Alex, like I know you try to pour into all these people, and I hope that you have some people pouring into your life.
Yeah.
And I read that, bro, and I started bawling, because like I was like, yo, like that's facts. This is like
true.
Because like I've realized that. It's like sometimes I need to take a step back and like, okay, I gotta work. I talked this about my pastor too. I was like, I need to work on my own relationship with God, rather than like focus just about trying to help other people's. So I've been trying to deal with that lately, and like again, like the social media stuff gets toxic. I really like, it was a bad mental battle, but then I'll like go back and think about like my experiences with God and feeling like His presence, and like getting that to like fulfill me again, to like give like me all that's like all I need. And if all the social media stuff went, would I be okay? And that just to be, if as long as I have like God in my life, I will be. I try to like remember that.
Yeah, because like you said, man, it could all, you
never know what's going to go away.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and then another thing too, I've been trying to work on, talking to my pastor about, and like I've been feeling like convicted for, is like tithing, or like, and like giving money to the church. You know what I mean? Because I went from, I'm pretty young, bro. I made like no money back when I had $3,000 to my name when I first started social media. To on track, like I make a good amount of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I do a lot. Like people are like, oh, where do you get your money from? Like I do everything. I'm big. I'm pretty good on YouTube. We have the sponsors. I have like 2 new sponsors I just got like getting with. So I have like a decent stream of income, like merch, all that, whatever it is. So it went from like having none to like having this, and it's like I feel like I need to give more to God. Sure. It's just hard for me to go from like for example, let's say like I was to do like a 10% tithe. Go from like the 10% of like that 4K, whatever it was,
to like what you're doing now. Yeah, that's a massive amount.
Yeah, it's hard for me to like be like, yo, I'm gonna write this check every month.
Right.
Like, yo, it's a lot.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get better with that. I've been feeling convicted of that, so I had to mention it.
Yeah. Well, you put it out there, man. So my mom was like, after I got saved, because I got radically saved like my sophomore year in college. Totally like very similar experience, like feeling the Holy Spirit for the first time, like feeling presence of God, like being like, wow, this is real. Like this is really real.
So dope.
It's so crazy. But my mom was like, I was like, Mom, why you always give to the church? Like just, why would you do that?
Yeah.
She was like, this is just like a biblical principle. Like we give money because God has provided this to us. So we're giving it. And she was like, just write a check. I want you to write a check. Just write a check, whatever amount you want. Put it in there, and on the memo, like, write what you want. Like, what do you want? And me at that age, I'm like, I want a motorcycle, like I want a crotch rocket. So I put that in the offering, and I'm not kidding. Like 2 weeks later, my dad just randomly like surprised me with a crotch rocket, which was just like not even in the cards, Yeah. So my mom was like, I told you.
That's crazy.
This is why we do that.
My dad had a story. My grandmother was a pastor. So my dad, when he was a kid, had a $20 bill. I think it was like 12, and he like no one knew about his mom or dad. He felt obliged to give it to the church. He like secretly gave it to the church in the offering, and he went back home literally from church that day, and on his like dresser was a crisp $20 bill.
No way.
And he swears that he asked his mom and dad about like they had no idea that he even gave money to the church, and like they like didn't claim about it being like theirs or anything.
That's crazy.
So my dad always told me, because I've been talking to him about that, like you can't outgive God, and that's what like I'm trying to like realize, like I know whatever I give, like he'll give back to me. It's just I like to see like if I'm gonna give, like I want to see it like in work, like working. Like if I see like somebody who has like medical bills in the church that needs it urgently, like I wouldn't mind paying whatever it costs. Sure. It's hard for me to write a check and just have it disappear and not see how it's getting used.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm trying to like work on how to get around that. If there's a way, like if the church can find out people who like urgently need help, I can just directly help them.
Well, that's incredible.
Yeah,
man. Well, I don't want to take any more of your time, and I gotta go catch a flight.
Yeah, no.
You got a red eye tonight too. I have a red eye. We're both flying out late, so well, thank you so much, dude. This was fun.
Yeah,
I appreciate it,
bro. I love talking about this stuff. I can go on for days, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I love
well, maybe we'll do another one day. Yeah, talk about it more.
Yeah,
you gotta come to you gotta come to Nashville. You gotta come to Legacy.
Yeah, so that's where you're from?
Yeah, well, that's where I live now. That's where my wife is from. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make it out there for sure.
Yeah, bro, you have to.
I didn't know that. That's bro. Maverick City's like my number one.
That's crazy, man.
Them, bro.
Yeah, those guys are incredible. Like I've hung out with them, outside of.
Good people.
Yeah, they're good people.
Them in Upper Room. Upper Room's a really good church.
Upper Room is great too. Great church. Amazing, bro. All right, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
This is a podcast where people do gym stuff and others too.